Good morning. This meeting of the Madera County Board of Supervisors is now called to order, and we'll begin with the, are there any additions to the agenda?
Chair, there are no additions to the agenda.
Okay, can you read the closed session into the record, please?
Happily, Chair, members of the board, there are 3 items on your agenda today for closed session. The first is under Government Code Section 54957.6. That's conference with your labor negotiators. Your county representatives are Director Roman Noriega, ACAO Joel Bourget, and Carter is not present. There are 2 existing litigation matters under Government Code Section 54956.9, subsection D1. The cases are Madera Community Hospital. It's a U.S. Bankruptcy Court, 23-104-57-811 is the Fresno Division case number. And the other is Keith Trout versus the County of Madera. And this is a Northern District federal case, 321 CV 06061 TSH. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any public comment regarding this item?
None online.
Okay, thank you. With that, we will move to closed session. Okay, good morning. We have returned from closed session and we're resuming our normal line of business here. So good morning, everyone. And welcome to the Madera County Board of Supervisors meeting. County Council, do we have anything to report from closed session?
Chairman, there's no reportable action from your closed session. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll have the invocation by Lance Leach, pastor at Valley West Christian, and then we for the flag salute. Trying to think the young representative's name from Duarte's office. Joshua, thank you. How could I forget Josh? That's really crazy. That's a great name. Okay.
Or not. Oh, it kind of had a little glimmer, but not like that. That's definitely on. Good morning. Let's pray. God, we are so humbled to have your attention, the creator of the universe, creator of all things. And here we get to come before you and ask for our community, for Madera County. We're so grateful for this place that we live. This is the land that you blessed us with, our fathers, our grandfathers, and this being the weekend of Father's Day. God, I pray a blessing over the fathers of this community here in Madera County, God, those that have embraced the role and those that are struggling with the role. God, I pray that they would understand what fathering is all about, and that, God, they would, regardless of how well they've done it or how poorly, they would be embracing it this weekend and learn and understand. And we thank you that you're the greatest father to learn from, the one with great wisdom, great patience, great mercy, great instruction. And so, God, I thank you that you father this community. I pray for the board members here, that they would continue to grow in wisdom, understanding, and care for our community. All those that support them would continue as well in the gifts and talents that you blessed them with, the technical things that they are responsible for. It takes so many people to make this county work as it should together as one unit. And so we thank you for that. We ask for our first responders, for those who put their life and their limbs on the line every day, those that are police, our sheriffs, our firemen, our county firefighters, as the season is heating up. We pray, Father God, a blessing over them. We thank you for this beautiful weather that we've enjoyed. And we just, we're so blessed to have Madera County as home. And so continue to look over us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Joshua, you lead us in the flag salute. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Thank you, Joshua. Representative for Congressman John Duarte's office with us today.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to, as we had our flag salute, I'd just like to remind everybody tomorrow's Flag Day. And so I'd encourage everybody to get their flag out and honor it and honor our nation by doing so. Thank you.
You bet. That flag stands as a beacon of hope for many in the world, and especially for Americans. We should look upon it with pride. Thinking about a friend of mine who just erected a new flag, and you can see it when you drive into Chowchilla. It is so big. It's like probably 20 feet across. It's huge. This waves so beautifully in the wind right over the top of the trees near his house. He's got it up about 100 feet or so. That's a beautiful flag, beautiful country, and all of the elements of the flag. If you've never studied that, the folding of the flag and what the folds represent, what the stripes and the stars represent, it's quite remarkable. So I encourage you to do that. Thank you. You know, I neglected, do we have anyone that we want to open and close in memory of today? Okay, let's
Hey,
since
Chair,
it's-
real quick, not someone
Yeah.
that I'd like to open and close in memory of, but I did just want to wish my father a happy birthday. So
Oh,
it's his
happy birthday to your
65th
dad.
Birthday today, and just a lucky guy to have him in my life. So just wanted to.
And
to
just
say happy
before
birthday.
Father's Day, though, what a great statement. Your dad's
That's-
very proud.
That's right. I get to double dip on gifts this way.
And
So
he's watching
there
this
you go.
morning probably because he's a regular watcher
He
on
is.
this program. Well, I know that Betsy Ross is probably not, she's long gone out of a lot of memories, but since tomorrow's Flag Day, let's remember Betsy Ross. He had a lot to do with the flag and its constructions. Good American history to think of. We'll open and close in memory of Betsy Ross. All right, well, let's move to the consent calendar or public comment. I'm sorry, public comment. Any public comment?
Public comment. The first 15 minutes of each regular session are set aside for members of the public to address the board on any matter under the jurisdiction of the board, but not appearing on the agenda. The board will not take any action on any items presented under public comment. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Anyone addressing the board is asked to print their name clearly on the speaker sheet at the podium and state their name and county of residence for the record.
Come ahead, sir. Turn on the mic there.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Mike DeLaguerre, and I'm a board member of Madera Ag Water Association, or MAWA. Thank you for the opportunity to comment. I'm here this morning because I want to draw your attention to a letter MAWA sent to board on May 30th regarding several Sigma implication issues. Over the last several years, MAWA.
Let me hold you up for a second. We do have an item on the board in regarding groundwater sustainability. So I'm going to ask you to hold your comments to that point.
Okay.
Because it's agendized and that's our policy.
Okay, we reviewed that, but yeah, that's fine. I
Okay.
can wait.
Thank you. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.
Sorry about that. Anyone else to come and speak? Come ahead. Turn on the mic here.
Hello, Chairman Rogers and members of the board. Thank you for having me here today. I have a few pieces of legislation that Congressman Duarte has recently introduced. The first is the Water Infrastructure Modernization Act, which he co-sponsored. Working families are suffering because Washington hasn't protected our water. Our dams, canals, and levees are not delivering the water we need to keep food affordable and provide high-paying jobs. The Water Infrastructure Modernization Act is a common sense solution to getting more water to Valley families, farmers, and small businesses. This bill invests $50 million to bring clean and affordable water to our families, farms, and small businesses. This bill supports community water systems, innovative technologies, and storage systems. We also have the Supply Chain Improvement Act, which Congressman Duarte sponsored. This would lower the cost of living, and we must strengthen our supply chain. The past 3 years have shown disastrous consequences that can occur from mismanaged highways, ports, and railroads. Improving our supply chain means affordable gas, cheaper groceries, and a strong economy. The Supply Chain Improvement Act unleashes American industry and gets our country back to normal. This legislation prioritizes infrastructure projects that improve the supply chain for certain U.S. Department of Transportation grant programs. Simply put, this bill directs federal funding towards critical infrastructure projects that help Valley families. Thank you.
Hold on a second. I wanted to get your first name.
Joshua Babcock.
Thank you, Joshua. And also be sure and let Congressman know. We would love to bring some of those items for our consideration as far as support on the board,
Absolutely.
and we'll get those on the agenda. And another thing I wanted to just relay to you, I just recently visited Friant Dam, and they're managed on a year-to-year system. That needs to change. That we need legislation to move them to a multi-year system of management. And even the managers of this facility agree that that needs to happen.
Absolutely. I'll bring that to our team's attention.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Chairman.
Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Roman Noriega, Madera County Human Resources Director. I'm pleased to announce that we are returning and relaunching the Employee Satisfaction Survey in the coming weeks. The Employee Satisfaction Survey will aim to achieve our strategic plan, Focus Area 2, to improve employee satisfaction, engagement, and performance and promote wellness to enhance our employees' health and well-being. The team coordinating the survey includes Melissa Da Silva, District 5 Chief of Staff, Yvette Gomez, Executive Assistant to the CAO, and myself. We are finalizing the survey questions, timeline, and communication plan, and we'll provide additional updates soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I always appreciate that survey because I get a lot out of it. People, I hope that the employees will participate we can get a large participation, it really helps to understand where things really are. Thank you.
Yeah, and in our communication plan, we'll have reminders built in to get as much participation as we can.
Great. Thank you so much. Anyone else to address the board? Come ahead.
Roman, did you steal our pen? Keep the diet's pen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Vincent Ray Petrucci. I live here in Madera. This is comment and concern is to the District 2 Supervisor, David Rogers.
Thank you.
David, I'm wondering, when are they going to open up Road 23? It's been, this disaster for the last 7 months. We had a little trickle of rain, and now I've been out there, I've observed it myself. Maybe it's 10 feet in diameter, but that's the main channel that we go to work each and every day. I commute back and forth to Merced. It takes me 15 minutes or more to commute through that way.
Right.
Number one. So I'm not sure if it's if you're looking over it, or if it's the MID, or it's the county of Madera, but somebody should try to go out there and do something. I see nobody out there other than a barricade. And each and every day, people turning this way and this way. And then when you go to the left and you go west, you hit worse road. I mean, the road out there is horrendous, terrible road. I don't know what it's like in Chachilla, where you come from, but Madera County on this side of District 2, terrible. Out where the Poitras Ranch is, I'm sure he can contest to that as well. Also, you have out off of Road 4, Mr. Rogers, coming in off over the overpass there. It's been blocked for months as well. Have a little rain, 18, 20 inches. And now there's no place to go, Mr. Rogers. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
I know it's probably running out 3 minutes. The other thing is the graffiti, the homelessness. It was months and maybe years that out there at Pilot, there was a caravan. I thought I was over in Italy when the gypsies were on the out part of town, that I see this
Are
caravan
they
of
back
trailers.
again, or?
They're not back, but it
Okay.
took someone to call.
We
They were
did-
just,
We did that.
yeah. I called in several times. After I called in, I guess that it was taken care of.
We
But-
did it before you called in.
No, I'm not
I know
sure
when
where
the
it-
call came in, but
Yeah.
Matt Skolnick was involved directly in that.
Yeah, anyway, I just see that, Madera County on this side of District 2, which I live out off of Road 24, roads have not been taken care of for years. You've been at that position for, I think this is going 12 years, but it's been years.
Mhm.
So I don't know, the budget was yesterday or it's ongoing. I'm just hoping in the current years that come, you can address that, Mr. Rogers, and not just address the Chachilla part, but also out here in Madera as well. Thank you.
I'd like for you to talk to Matt Treber back there, and he can explain what's going on.
Thank you,
Uh,
Mr. Rogers.
It's not something we have, not something we overlook. It's something we can't do, and he'll explain why.
Thank you for
I
your
appreciate you
time.
taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? Thank you for those comments. We take them seriously and appreciate each one that comes forward. Okay, with that, we'll move into the consent calendar. Are there any items that any supervisor would like to move to outside discussion?
Chair, I just have a couple questions.
Okay,
on-
go ahead.
on Items G, M, and P.
G, M, and P, okay?
G, really just more comments in regards to what we're doing there. I'm just pretty excited because we're getting some needed improvements, not only to the road there, but to kind of a dangerous intersection over there off 426. And of course, that's being paid for through development, which is a great thing, that we don't have to, tap into the county's budget on that. But wanted to thank staff, particularly Jared, for meeting with all the neighbors out in the area, working with them on any concerns they have, as well as staff for getting together with the community last week in a town hall to talk about the project at large as well as the road and those improvements. So thank you, Jared, for that. I appreciate it. Item M, I think it's a great thing that we're doing there to do that evaluation of those water systems and kind of prioritize, how we seek grant funding and how we can overcome some of those challenges. And I understand that we have a pavement index that kind of helps us do the same thing with spending around our mileage system. And I guess my comment would be that I'd be really excited to see something like that done around road districts and perhaps evacuation routes, where we can go in and just evaluate, where we can consolidate some of these districts, as Supervisor Gonzalez mentioned yesterday, and go in and identify where we have, a need for better egress and regress around evacuation routes. So I know that's not something that we're going to take care of today, but I just wanted to make that point. And then an actual question on item P. Apologize for the comments, but with item P, how are the costs associated with these audits allocated to each of the districts? Is it based on the accountant's time with each district, or is it
So good morning, supervisors. This is Andrew Saldati, sorry. Andrew Saldati, Deputy Director of Public Works. It is a flat rate per audit. So that flat rate was set, I believe, 3 years ago. And with the cost of everything going up, that is the need for the amendment. So a flat rate per district per fiscal year. And so what we have seen with the districts, if they are going through an application phase with the state, there are multiple fiscal years that need to be audited. And so those are charges distributed directly to the district if they are needed for a state application for a grant. And so then the district is responsible for the payment of those charges. They are not reimbursable by the state under the grant.
So for clarity, they're only doing the audits if they're in position for a grant, or are we auditing each district every year?
We are not auditing each district every year. We create financial statements for each district every year. And then the state is requiring us to audit those financial statements in order to submit a completed package for a state grant.
Okay.
So we are only auditing if we are in line for a grant.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Any other items that you wanted to discuss or? Hearing none. Any public comment on the consent calendar? Okay, I'll hear a motion and bring it back to the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made in second. Let's vote.
Supervisor McCauley,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras.
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez.
Yes.
Chairman Rogers.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Item 6A.
Item
Why
6.
can't we have to wait? We will have to wait another 10 minutes before we can proceed on that item. So we're going to recess for 10 minutes. .31 and we can,
Just
okay, we're going to reconvene and we will go to item 6A.
6A, Board of Directors, Groundwater Sustainability Agencies, Water and Natural Resources Department. Hearing for Chowchilla Subbasin Second Amendment Groundwater Sustainability Plan. Discussion and consideration to adopt a resolution amending the revised groundwater sustainability plan for the Chowchilla Subbasin and define an amended GSP to be exempt from the California Environmental Qualities Act pursuant Water Code Section 10728 period 6, as well as under SEQA Guidelines Section 15307.
Good morning,
And
Mr. Chairman, members of the board,
Just-
Stephanie Agneson, your Director of
Just-
Water and Natural
Just one
Resources.
moment.
Oh, I'm
Stephanie.
sorry.
I'm so sorry.
You
Pause because
paused
I'm
dramatically.
Section 15308 Section 15061. Discussion and consideration of entering into an amendment for MCC number 12262-22 of the Chowchilla Water District Groundwater Sustainability Agency, the Merced County Groundwater Sustainability GSA Chowchilla, and the Triangle T Water District GSA related to domestic wells to include private domestic wells and shallow wells that supply, drinking water used under primary purposes for serving drinking water needs, and authorize the chairman to sign. Now you can go.
It's a
Thank you.
mouthful.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Stephanie and Agneson. There are two items in front of you today. One of them is an amended groundwater sustainability plan in the Chowchilla subbasin. The other item is an amended domestic well mitigation MOU that accompanies the groundwater sustainability plan. I don't have a consultant or a presentation. I'm just going to walk you through a few basic items here. So I know your board has seen a lot of items that relate to groundwater sustainability plans, revisions, determinations of inadequacy or incompleteness. So just a brief summary. As you know, we represent the acres that don't have other representation in the Madera, Chowchilla, and Delta Mendota subbasin. In the Delta Mendota subbasin, there are 23 GSAs and 6 GSPs. Those GSPs were determined to be incomplete and then determined to be inadequate. And so within the county, that includes Aliso Water District GSA, the San Joaquin River Exchange Contractors Water Authority GSA, and then the county GSA representing about 3,000 acres in the Delta Mendota. So in the Delta Mendota, we are most likely seeing those plans going to the State Water Resources Control Board, potentially for a probationary hearing. We should know more next week when the state board meets. Shifting to Madera briefly, so that we're not confusing the three, the Madera subbasin GSPs, there are 4, are on a delayed schedule because Newstone did not originally submit a signed coordination agreement. So they're about 9 months behind the rest of them. Within Madera, we did receive an inadequacy determination. We have been able to use a lot of the material gained in Chowchilla because we're kind of lagging behind in Madera to revise the GSPs in Madera, and they were submitted in March. One party did not adopt the GSPs, but the Madera plans are currently on the DWR website and they're under public review and review by DWR. So that's Madera. I did Delta Mendota. We'll now shift to Chowchilla, which has a different schedule. So in Chowchilla, we received an incomplete determination. We revised and we received an inadequate determination. So there were 3 things that were marked by DWR. They felt that we did an okay job with interconnected surface waters, but they wanted more work done on the sustainable management criteria for groundwater levels and for subsidence. So we have, over the past couple of months, worked with the Chowchilla Advisory Committee, which Supervisor Rogers is on, to get direction and revise. And we now have a revised Chowchilla GSP that has additional work done with the sustainable management criteria for groundwater levels and subsidence. And so I can briefly tell you about those. The hope is that in Chowchilla, we get the plan submitted to the state board and we avoid a probationary hearing. That is the hope. At a certain point, this changes from a technical discussion to a political discussion, but we have brought state board officials and state board staff down to Chowchilla to see all of the good work with recharge that we're doing to illustrate that the Chowchilla subbasin parties all get along and are very committed to sustainability. So briefly, let me tell you about the groundwater levels, sustainable management criteria. We spent time reviewing acceptable plans throughout the valley, and there are a few that are acceptable. Our neighbors north and south ended up with acceptable plans. Merced had an approach that we thought worked pretty well for groundwater levels and for subsidence, and that's what we're going to adopt. So they adopted in Merced minimum thresholds based on fall 2015, measurable objectives based on fall 2011. For subsidence, they adopted a rate, meaning number of inches per year, with no additional subsidence, zero subsidence after the year 2040. So these are key technical pieces that we think we can bring from Merced, where this was deemed acceptable, to the Chowchilla plan and avoid a state board hearing. So I would be glad to answer any questions that you have about the Chowchilla GSP. It did go to the Chowchilla Advisory Committee on June 5th, where Supervisor Rogers serves. It was recommended by all four parties for approval and adoption by their individual entities.
Thank you for that synopsis. In my opinion, if this doesn't pass the muster with the state agency, then there's a political problem and not a technical. We know, we don't think that we've been out of line the entire time. However, we've had the discussion with them and said, what do you want? Tell us what you want. Give us a opportunity to succeed in your eyes. And we want to know what you need to have. And so we were very forthright, had multiple members sitting in on that phone call with DWR representatives and lawyers and what have you. I thought it was very cohesive, unified approach to them, letting them know that we have been trying to comply, we want to comply, and we want a successful plan. We want to win. We don't want to lose. So I think it was very clear to them. Message was very clear. It was not convoluted. I think we're going to see a different result this time, I'm hoping. But, fingers crossed. There's more involved here than just science. So we'll hope for the best on that. Any other questions or comments from the board? I'm going to open a public hearing on this item, and I know we had one comment earlier. I'm going to ask you if you come forward and deliver your comment this time.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
So,
Thank you for waiting. I appreciate it.
oh, not a problem.
Thank you.
So I'm Mike Delaguerre, and I'm a board member of the Madera Ag Water Association, or MAWA. I'm here this morning because I wanted to draw your attention to a letter MAWA sent to the board on May 30th regarding several SIGMA implementation issues. Over the last several years, MAWA has worked with its grower members, stakeholders, GSA staff to help shape SIGMA implementation in the Madera County wide areas. Our letter raises several issues that we believe are important to the effective implementation of SIGMA in Madera County. We all know how difficult it is to implement SIGMA, especially when we have droughts and floods. While the GSA has many issues it is working to manage, the issues identified in the letter are particularly important. One example is the need to adopt rules and policies for recharge. In late April, MAWA provided the GSA with a conceptual draft of a groundwater storage and recharge policy for discussion. We look forward to discussing this with the GSA staff this week and encourage the board to move quickly on this matter and others mentioned in the letter. We look forward to continuing to work with the GSA staff and appreciate the opportunity to comment. Now, Also, a couple of meetings I'd like to mention. Tomorrow, MAWA and Farm Bureau will be discussing land repurposing and other Sigma issues. That meeting will be at 2 p.m. at Madera Farm Bureau office. And next week, June 21st, Madera Chowchilla Resource Conservation District is going to have a grower experience with recharge. That's from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Location 1/2 mile west of Avenue 21.5 and Road 12. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and did get that letter and appreciate the letter.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you. We look forward to getting policy established on those very items as well. Very important to us. All right, next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Rogers. Just to clarify, I know that you opened the hearing.
Yes.
My comments aren't related to any item on a public hearing. But it is related to GSA issues.
Well, GSA is the
Okay.
subject at hand, so that's fine.
Okay. My name is Devin Avilas. I represent Agro Cooperative Farm Management Company here in Madera County. In 2022, Agro Cooperative team and the ownership made two decisions we believe were important for the sustainability of the pistachio orchards we help manage, as well as the sustainability of Madera's county's groundwater. The first decision was to participate in the program to validate the remote sense estimates of evapotranspiration of applied water, referred to as ETAW. ETAW is what the GSA is relying on to determine groundwater use. EROWatch is the third-party GSA retained to provide the remote sense ETAW, and David's Engineering is the consultant that GSA retained to conduct the validation program. All growers knew there was an accuracy problem with EROWatch and their estimates. AgriWorld participated to help improve the precision of EROWatch and rebuild some confidence in this remote measurement. The second decision was to make sure the acreage managed by Agro Cooperative stayed under its groundwater allocation. This was a mandate from our owners. They knew this was the right thing to do for the basin, and it was necessary to see how the pistachio trees would respond. Why I believe both decisions were correct and for the good of groundwater in Madera County, I'm here today to tell you that both of these decisions, because of these decisions of GSA consultants and staff, both decisions have backfired on us. Our good actions have now been penalized. The reason these decisions backfired is that the EROWatch remote sensing data incorrectly overestimated AgriWorld's ETAW. And just last week, GEI Consultants, the organization retained by the GSA, reviewed our appeal and denied our appeal of the EROWatch data. GEI apparently felt constrained to look at only at flow meter photos, which we could not provide for 3 months because we were complying with GSA's calibration requirements and replacement. GEI refused to consider the other reliable evidence we offered to prove the ETAW estimates are incorrect. GEI rejected the AgriWorld appeal because we did not have photos of the flow meters for the months of January, February, and March, along with some other miscellaneous dates. AgriWorld did not have photos for the first 3 quarters of 2022 or the first quarter of 2022 because we had to remove all of the meters to comply with the GSA's recalibration requirements or replacement. I note that these recalibration requirements are far more than what the State Water Resources Control Board requires. And this requires, on some of these meters, it requires us not to just send it to a local vendor. You have to send it back to the manufacturer. Nevertheless, Agro Cooperative complied, and I know I'm over my 3 minutes. Would you like me to?
You go ahead and wrap it up.
Okay. Well, it's going to be a little bit further for me to
I'll
go.
give you 1 more minute.
Okay, well then, I'll just give you the
We,
synopsis.
we do have a letter, right?
Yes, you have the letter.
Yeah,
But basically what happened with this appeal,
right.
we are saying, we are ETAW is saying that we use 1,214 acre feet more than what we pumped out of the ground.
But your meters didn't say that.
No, the meters say that. And this was validated through David's Engineering through the validation program.
Okay,
So they have published this, GSA or the staff has this. They have our direct information from what the pumping was that shows. Now, these data gaps that they're referring to, no water was pumped. Supervisor Poitras, you're a grower. How many growers pump water in the month of January, February, and March, especially during drought?
During drought, I mean, it's a lot. This last winter, it was nothing
Right.
because of all the rain. So
Right,
yeah,
but
you're going to
for-
be pre-irrigating and doing all kinds of
But for
stuff.
pistachios, you do not.
Okay.
You do not have to. So, and given the fact that we had the threat that if you overuse water in early 2022, the threat was you're going to pay a penalty of $500 per acre foot, which we now know did not happen. So now what's being said to us is we did everything proper. We participated in the validation program that shows what we pumped.
right.
But our appeal was denied. Therefore, the 1,214 acre feet that we should be allowed to be carried over is not allowed as of right now. Because in the resolution, it says the appeal, the final decision is made by the consultant.
Hmm.
So now, those people in 2022 that did overuse are not paying a penalty. There's no harm, no foul to them. We did everything a grower that you're asking us as a grower to participate with you. And you're saying, sorry, you didn't have some photos. But if you look at one of these packages, and let me read this to you real quick. This is from the David's Engineering package that they did. It's actually side 13 of the last, but this isn't just for our organization, it's for the entire basin.
Right.
Their note says, review of preliminary results for the project led to important refinements in the methodology and assumptions that EraWatch uses to quantify ETAW, resulting in an adjustment to ETAW values for 2022 and future years.
Very familiar with
Yeah,
that.
and you remember where you see those drop downs where they go?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
that happened to every single grower.
Yep.
Where did that information come from? Approximately 12,000 acres were in the verification program, of which our organization manages 25%. So there is data there. Staff and consultants are just saying, hey, this is what is in the resolution. This is what we're sticking with. But remember, the resolution says it does call out certain things, but it does not say that other forms of information cannot be supplied. If that were the case, David Engineering would not have published the report.
Right.
Thank you for your time.
I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. We'll have some discussions on this policy later on.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'd like for us to, we'll probably end up agendizing that very issues. Thank you for your comment. Any other comments at this time on the GSA item 6A? 1 and 2. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to the board. What's your pleasure? As a representative, I'll make the motion that we approve forward this information.
I'll second.
Motion made in second. Let's vote.
Chairman Rogers,
Yes.
Supervisor Wamhaugh,
Yes.
Supervisor Poitras,
Yes.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Yes.
excuse me, Supervisor McCauley.
Yes.
Vote passes 5-0.
Thank you. Pending legislation. I think we had some brought forward this morning, but we'll formalize that legislation later on, or we could, how does the board feel about listening to those again one more real quick time? Thumbs up on that, or?
I'd love an opportunity just to learn a little bit more about it before, unless there's a pressing need or.
No pressing need? Great. Let's bring them forward at the next meeting. That'd be great. Love to have you back, if that's okay. Super. Any other pending legislation?
Not at this time, Chairman.
Okay. Supervisors and staff reports. Supervisor McCauley.
Nothing to report. Thank you.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, I attended the RHA Regional Health Authority for the county. Supervisor Wamhoff,
Nothing to report.
Supervisor Gonzalez,
Nothing to report. Thank you.
CAO.
Nothing like additional. Thank you.
Okay, County Council,
No report. Thank you, Chair.
clerk.
And nothing to report. Thank you.
Great, thank you. And we did do our budget hearings yesterday, so very successful, got to the end of that. We look forward to continuing through the year on that item. So at this time, no further business come before this board will adjourn. Thank you.